Your person's friends just saw your picture. And they said something that changed everything. Open this right now, my beloved child. Your person's friends just saw your picture, and everything shifted in an instant. The moment that image reached them, time seemed to freeze, not for you, not for the world, but for the people closest to the one you're thinking about. Their trusted circle, the ones they confide in when no one else is around, stared at your face and couldn't look away. Something in your energy, your gaze, halted them completely. One whispered, "Wait, who is this?" Another chimed in, "If you don't reach out to this person right now, you'll regret it forever." A hushed conversation unfolded behind closed doors, and the one you care about fell silent. Your picture unlocked a door sealed by fear, pride, and confusion. They gazed at your smile, zoomed in, and memories flooded back. The way you made them feel like the center of the universe, how your presence eased the toughest days, how even your quiet spoke volumes. The boldest friend locked eyes with them and said, "You messed this up, didn't you?" No response was needed, the picture spoke for itself. It painted a story of what could have been, what should have been, and what might still be if they muster the courage. They never expected this surge of emotion from a simple image, but a sacred force filled the room. Something inexplicable, divine. It wasn't just your beauty, it was your aura, the serenity in your spirit, the wisdom in your eyes, the lingering love that endures despite everything. Someone asked, "Are you still in touch?" They hesitated, then shook their head. Regret crept in like a chill. But then, change ignited. They grabbed their phone, and your name appeared in the search bar, not once, not twice, but 7 times. It revealed the truth. They'd been checking, watching, thinking, all while pretending otherwise. That friend pressed, "If you don't act now, someone else will." The person you're thinking of stayed quiet, but their eyes betrayed everything they knew. They recognized the version of you in that photo as alive, open, hopeful. But for how long? They didn't scroll past, they lingered, feeling your presence as if you were there, watching back. The air thickened with your undeniable, unforgettable energy. An older, wiser friend spoke up, "This one's different. You can't fake that kind of bond. Not twice." Silence fell. Your person looked away, fidgeting, because deep down, they already understood. This wasn't nostalgia, it was an invitation, a divine nudge, a door creaking open briefly. Then came the revelation. The boldest friend stood, met their gaze, and declared, "You never stopped loving them. You just got scared." No argument followed, truth was etched on your face. Your photo showcased your strength, your quiet resilience, your evolution. You weren't the same, you'd grown. Suddenly, they doubted if they deserved you now. That realization crashed over them like a wave, shattering the illusion of endless time. You appeared powerful, serene, healed, and that terrified them more than anything. You weren't waiting anymore, you were blossoming, entering your divine era. If they didn't reach out, you'd slip away, not by choice, but by their delay. The twist deepened. A quiet friend finally spoke. Do you know what they've endured without you? What your silence did to them? They saw it in your person's eyes. No answer, because they did know. They'd glimpsed the signs, dreams, midnight flashes of your face, reminders everywhere, a scent, a word, a clock's time, a street name. Now, their friends knew too. Your picture unveiled honesty, no more pretense, no more hiding. But there's more you don't know. That night, they saved your photo. Not to share, not to post, but to cherish in solitude, when longing struck, when they recalled being truly seen. They couldn't stop staring. Later, alone in dim light, your image glowed like something holy. They zoomed in on your smile, searching your eyes for answers. Were you still waiting? Still open? Or had the door shut? Your silence held a strength that frightened them. They replayed your final words, your cracked voice yet steady exit, a haunting melody that wouldn't fade. After their friends' words and seeing your transformed glow, they couldn't deny it anymore. They opened your messages, scrolled through every line, your check-ins, your "I believe in you"s, reading them like sacred text. Their heart broke. You'd always been genuine, loving without games, staying when others fled. But fear and ego blinded them then. Now, awake, emptiness spoke louder than your silence. Your photo awakened something buried, ancient. They whispered your name like a prayer, pleading for a sign. Instantly, their phone lit up, an old memory, a shared laugh from a year ago. Impossible timing, divine. They knew it was you, not coincidence, but energy aligning. Love doesn't vanish, it waits, but not forever. Midnight arrived, sleep eluded them. Lying there, your photo open, your energy whispering, they replayed the friend's words. You never stopped loving them. You just got scared. For the first time, they admitted it. Scared of deep vulnerability, of loving someone worthy. But fear loses to love. Heart racing, fingers trembling, they opened your chat. The blank screen brimmed with unspoken feelings. They typed, "I saw your picture today." Deleted it. Tried again, "I don't even know if I deserve your reply, but I need to say this." Backspaced, breathed deep, and poured out, "I was wrong about everything." And if there's even 1% of you that still believes in us, tell me, because I can't keep pretending I'm okay without you. Hovering over send, they paused, eyes closed, then tapped. A gasp escaped, It wasn't just a text, it was surrender, a bridge rebuilding. They waited, afraid yet hopeful. Then, divine, the screen lit up. You were typing. Not a reply, but a pivotal moment, one they thought lost, a whisper that this wasn't the end, but the start of something wiser, holier. Your fingers hovered over the screen, their message glowing, warm, raw. You reread it, each word echoing memories long dormant but alive. I was wrong. If there's even 1% of you that still believes in us. Thunder in silence, you'd waited for this truth, unfiltered, rising from shattered pride. Your soul ignited. You recalled their sunrise gazes, melting laughs, your shared silences. But also the empty nights, forced indifference, piecing yourself together alone. You didn't rush. This was sacred ground. When you typed, it was truth, not anger. I believed in you more than anyone. Even when it hurt, even when I had nothing left. I never wanted perfection, just honesty, to be fought for as I fought for you when no one else did. Heart pounding, you added, if you want my presence again, match my peace, not my pain. Sent. Their breath caught, it was an awakening. You stood in power, not where they'd left you. Rereading, they felt every ignored message, every push-pull. Tears came, not from weakness, but revelation. You'd given everything, and they hadn't earned it. Pride buried love, now it resurfaced. They paced, typed, deleted, typed again. Nothing fit. Tears flowed from seeing you healed, powerful, no longer theirs to claim. Finally, kneeling in spirit, they confessed, I lied to myself. I told everyone I moved on. I laughed off mentions of your name. I shrugged at your posts. I said I was fine, but I was never fine. I kept thinking I'd have time, that you'd wait. But your message showed me, you've grown. And that hurts most because I lost you slowly, in every silence, every unspoken word. I didn't deserve your loyalty, your softness, but you gave it. I broke it out of unreadiness, fear of being seen so deeply. Chest heaving, they continued, I miss you, not just your smile or voice, but the safety, the knowing, the home you gave me. They sent it, atmosphere shifting. Not asking for return, but to be seen anew. You felt it, line by line, like rain on glass. I lied. I was never fine. I missed the way I felt around you. Raw, real, not the one you'd begged for, but the broken one seeking truth. Eyes closed, phone to chest, you let stillness speak. Hearing them, you heard yourself, the silent cries, the forced forgetfulness. Love with no outlet. Why now? When peace was yours? But no anger. Conflict, because a part of you left the light on, not desperate, but open to truth without lowering your worth. Now they returned, not with promises, but a mirror of failures. You sat in discernment, no rush. This wasn't revival, it was clarity. Not revenge, but release. Not questioning their love, but yours, does it match your evolved self? Unsure, but certain, you no longer chase from broken hearts. You await alignment, peace, consistent love without guilt. You set the phone down. No reply yet, not pride, but wisdom. Some answers need time. They waited, screen fixed on emptiness. No dots, no signs, just silence. Terrifying, as they once inflicted it. Refreshing, convincing themselves of delays, but knowing it was you weighing if their truth fit your healed heart. Fear gripped harder than the first loss. Now they saw your stillness as strength, not absence. Replaying memories, what-ifs, ignored chances, they realized, you asked for little, they failed to grow. Sitting on the bed, a tear fell, honest. Not missing you, but grieving the self who let you go. Whispering, I thought I had time. But you healed, crossed pains, stood in light. You're not mine to reach, you're divine to protect. Reality cut deep. You sat alone, not sad, but aligned. Their message stirred emotions, memories, but brought clarity. No more apologies sought, answers chased, closure needed, you'd found yourself. At a crossroad, respond emotionally or elevated. You opened their message once more, not to relive, but release. Honoring their pain, courage, you typed calmly, I'm proud of you for saying this. I believe you meant every word, but I've changed. I can't fit back into what I've outgrown. My silence was protection for us both. I wish you peace, not pain, growth, not guilt, love that matches your new feelings, maybe not with me. Thank you for seeing me. Now, I hope you finally see yourself. Scent. Breath deep, wind blowing, you knew a chapter closed painlessly. Space opened for God's future plans. You thought it ended, the final page, full stop. But the universe aligns without limits. As you released, a new energy emerged, subtle, gentle, undeniable. Not them, not a message, not a knock, a divine presence, heaven's parting. Your phone lit up. Not them, a new name, familiar in soul. One message. Hey, I don't know if this is strange, but you popped into my thoughts today out of nowhere, and I don't even know you well. But something peaceful hit me seeing your photo. Hope you're doing okay. Breath paused, not words, but frequency. Not flirtation, not rushed fate, but divine recognition. You smiled, soul whispering, this is what letting go brings, space for higher things, real and right. Not loud, but true. Confirmation, you're in a new timeline. Released replaced with promise. Love matching your growth watches from afar. Stay open. Their friends had eyes like weather vanes, turning toward a screen that glowed with your face. In that instant, time slowed, not for you or the world, but for the ones closest to the one you're thinking of. The ones they trust, the voices in the room when no one's watching. They saw your smile, and they didn't blink. A whisper cut through the hush, "Who is this?" And another. "If you don't go back to this person now, you'll regret it for the rest of your life." A curtain of conversation rose behind the scene, and the one you care for stood silent, because the picture had opened a door long locked by fear, pride, and confusion. They stared at your light, and in that moment they remembered everything. The way you made them feel like they were the only person on earth, how your presence could soften the hardest day, how your silence spoke louder than anyone else's words. The bold friend met their gaze and asked, "You messed this up, didn't you?" They didn't answer. The image answered for them, telling a story of what could have been, what should have been, and what might still be if courage returned. The room held a sacred hush, because the energy in the photo, the calm in your spirit, the knowing in your eyes, the quiet love lingering in your aura, felt divine. Someone murmured, "Are you still in touch?" They hesitated, then shook their head. Regret slid in like a cold wind. Yet the night wasn't finished changing them. The memory of you visited again, bold and undeniable. Your picture had opened a portal of honesty. No more pretending. No more hiding. That very night, they saved your image to their phone, not to boast, but to hold in quiet moments when they miss you. They stared at it, zoomed in on your smile, trying to read the answers hidden in your eyes. Were you still waiting? Still open? Or had the door finally closed? The silence around them grew heavy, because your energy had become a force. You looked powerful, peaceful, healed. You seemed to be blooming, becoming something divinely aligned. They feared that if they didn't reach out now, you might become the one that got away, not by your choosing, but by their hesitation. In the stillness, one of the friends spoke with rare candor, "This one's different. You can't fake that kind of connection, not twice." The truth settled in. Your picture wasn't just a memory. It was a signal, a doorway swinging open for a moment that could redefine everything. Meanwhile, in the quiet of your own space, you sensed a shift. The memory of you lingered in their mind like a song they can't stop hearing. You remembered the nights you waited for a message that never came, the mornings you acted like you didn't care, the days you gathered broken pieces in silence just to survive. You hadn't replied immediately, because this moment deserved more than a rush of emotion. It deserved discernment. And then the message came. They typed, "I saw your picture today." They paused, then deleted. They tried again, "I don't even know if I deserve your reply, but I need to say this." They poured out the truth they had carried for far too long. "I was wrong about everything." If there's even 1% of you that still believes in us, tell me, because I can't keep pretending I'm okay without you. They hit send and held their breath, because this wasn't just a text. It was a door, a surrender, a bridge rebuilt brick by trembling brick. You saw it, felt it. Not a plea, but a confession that pierced the quiet. "I lied to myself. I told everyone I moved on. I shrugged when I saw your posts. I said I was fine, but I was never fine." Your message asked for space to heal, not an immediate reset. You chose to respond, not with anger or begging, but with honesty. You spoke of growth, of not chasing but choosing. "If you want my presence again, match my peace, not my pain." That single line hit like a revelation. The energy shifted from fear to awe. They read your words again and again, recognizing the strength you'd gained, the grace with which you'd moved through pain. They remembered your loyalty, your softness, your willingness to stay when others left. They realized you hadn't waited forever. You had waited until you could wait no longer for the version of them you deserved. You, in turn, weighed your own truth. Memories rose, the times you cried without sound, the mornings you pretended not to care, the days you held your breath to survive. This wasn't about revenge or getting them back. It was about alignment, about waiting for a love that matched your growth. And now you found yourself at a sacred crossroad. Respond with emotion or respond with elevation. You chose elevation. You opened their message one last time, not to reopen a wound, but to release it. You acknowledged their courage, thanked them for saying what needed saying, and set a boundary that honored your healing. "I've changed. I can't fit back into a space I've outgrown." My silence wasn't punishment. It was protection for both of us. I wish you peace, not pain, growth, not guilt, love, not necessarily with me, but the kind that finally matches the way you now feel. Thank you for seeing me. Now I hope you finally see yourself. You pressed send and waited, breath held, heart steady. A new energy slipped into the room, not the old love revived, but a chapter closed with grace and a space cleared for what comes next. The universe doesn't stop at a full stop, it moves with alignment. And alignment has no expiration. Then, almost as if the cosmos wanted to demonstrate the principle, a new message appeared. Not from them, but from a name you hadn't expected, a name you hadn't seen before but felt summoned by anyway. "Hey, I don't know if this is strange, but you came into my thoughts today out of nowhere, and I don't even know you well. But something in me felt peace when I saw your photo. Hope you're doing okay." This wasn't flirtation. It wasn't fate rushing in. It was a resonance, a quiet recognition that you had released what no longer fed your soul. You smiled, not because of the message, but because your own energy whispered, "You passed the test." You chose healing over haunting. You chose peace over replies. You chose yourself over history. This wasn't simply a text, it was confirmation that you're stepping into a new timeline. So you stand in light, not waiting for a miracle, but inviting a future that respects your growth. The door is open, not because someone has returned, but because you have risen. And as you breathe in that truth, you remember, space clears so that higher things can step in. A new presence, gentle and true, crosses your path not as a replacement for the past, but as a sign that you have become aligned with something greater than yesterday's love. That's the arc of this moment. Not a dramatic revival of a memory, but a peaceful, powerful choosing of self, and of an unfolding future that honors the person you've become.